Okay. I mean, that is a good point.
I think we might start seeing some go back. We hit week 10 of the high school football season. That means we're one game away from the playoffs. Almost said one game away from state. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin here, Sideline to Sideline. The 4A edition brought to you by SI Design and Printing right here on L4 Media. And we're going to do what we always do. We're going to talk a little 4A football. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man.
Happy
Almost
Halloween.
to the playoffs. Yes.
Almost to the playoffs.
Happy Halloween. Where's my Dalmatian?
I think
you threw it over there.
I have not touched your Dalmatian.
You threw it over
Why
there.
would I throw it over there?
Because you weren't dressing up to something, and I was.
Where did you get that, by the way? You popped around noon at work showing pictures of your outfit. Where did you steal that from? Is there a little kid who's missing his Dalmatian bow tie?
Ears,
yeah, his bow tie.
and ears and a tail.
Why did it have a bow tie, though? I'm still confused about that.
I don't know. It's the spot.
You know what else confuses me? Coach X. He'll be here on the show as always. Do you want to give a programming note next week? If this is the first time you've listened to us for a season, welcome. Our playoff shows are a little different. We don't really review. We won't review anything from week 10 other than maybe a key stat for one of the games that we're talking about because we pick every playoff game. And we're not going to talk every playoff game, but we're going to talk a couple of key playoff games per region, but we will. And Coach X will write in something. We'll figure that out. But anyway, let's start where we always start, and that's by looking back at the week that was, including a game that we went to and had a really good trip. Yeah. We go out to Carthage to see Carthage versus Van.
I won big money at the boats.
You won $110.
You tried to walk the dinner ticket.
You did
at
too.
The boats. I didn't either.
We were gonna eat. We were gonna eat at
the bill.
We were gonna eat at the general store outside of Mooringsport, but we decided to go all the way into Shreveport. I haven't been there since the last time I think we went to the boat. Well, we went through going to New Orleans, but not like been there. But we go to the boats, and we end up having a really nice steak dinner at just a Smoky Joe's or something. It wasn't anything special, but it was nice. But so she hands me the receipt with a tip line and my card. And so I'm like, we both like, man, she ran that.
She handed you the ticket. We thought.
No, she picked up the card and then put it back down.
But we both looked at each other and was like, wow,
that was really quick
to take that.
Yeah. We were like, man, that's really quick. That's awesome. So we leave. We're walking back towards the casino part, and this guy chases us down.
Security guard, which I almost, you remember, because he was tapping us on the shoulder. And you know how, like, violent.
Are you about to run?
I was about
I never thought that, but okay.
What? This doesn't look intimidating to you? Because I was about to body slam the guy.
I love that. The fact, though, that the funniest thing, I think he was trying to make us feel better because he's like, man, y'all were quick. No, we weren't. We were walking at a very slow.
Yeah, I ran a 16,600, sir, in high school.
16,600.
That's not quick. That's fast.
That was best. That was the 75th best run in the Dallas County that year. But anyway, we played that, and then we went out to Carthage.
So we went back and paid the bill.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. I don't want to show my face though, just in case for other reasons.
But do you think there's anybody from Louisiana watching or listening?
Yes, I actually know that there is. Some of my family listens. So,
or
they watch.
Your grandmother, and that doesn't count.
Well, they're all dead. So if they're watching, that's
are you
amazing.
Chewing gum?
No, it's a pouch.
Okay, all right. Just make sure.
I don't always put it.
Okay, no, I thought you were chewing gum. That's gross.
Anyway, so let's talk about the game. We get there. First off, it was a good crowd.
It's a great crowd.
I forget
on the Carthage side.
I forget just how nice the stadium is, and it's nothing fancy, but it's a great 4A stadium.
Video boards about it.
Yeah, the video board's awesome.
4A.
And boy, they have got that thing sponsored up, but not to where you feel like it's overbearing, but it's impressive. I mean, they literally had a sponsor for every segment. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's what you expect when you go into a football factory. And the game kind of went exactly how I thought it would. I think you thought it would too. Van was scrappy. Van was tough. You
look at Van, and you didn't think when you looked at Van, although they had some dudes on that offensive line.
Yeah, they're big.
They are huge on that offensive line. That Carthage defensive line was a little undersized compared to that Van offensive line. But I think when Carthage gets up around other teams are going to be just monstrous.
Yeah.
But at times they own that Van offensive line.
Yeah. And let me, so I misspoke. I said 2 juniors, 3 sophomores on the offensive line. It's 2 seniors, 3 juniors. But I still make my point about Carthage this year. I'm not saying their line is small by any stretch.
No, they're not.
They're not as beefy as they've been in the past. That's not a bad thing, a good thing. It's just a thing.
But they're as good. You can see them being as good once they develop. And every week, I think this Carthage line on both sides of the ball is going to get even better, which is what's scary.
That's what I don't know what it is he does. We can talk about game adjustments. We can talk about them just having GoDaddies, whatever. But there is something in whatever Scott Surratt does, getting his team to peak at the right time. Because let's remember, the 2 times that they have been beaten in the playoffs the last few years, it's been upsets, and it's been one of the teams won state. And I think Liberty Hill, did they make it to state that year and then get beat? Or they might have got beat their last round. But it took Herculean efforts.
Yeah.
This Carthage team just knows how to ramp up.
Well, it's because they're so good in the trenches.
Yes.
And they got dudes on the outside, but the dudes on the outside and the quarterbacks
rely on the trenches.
And the Jet Surratts of the world do not make a living without really good line play.
Yeah.
And once again, you see the best line play that I've seen in Class 4A. And I saw Silsby a couple of weeks ago, and Silsby's line play is really, really good. But Carthage is probably the best line play on both sides of the ball. A Carthage Silsby game would be such a toss up right now. But I'm just saying, fundamentally, Carthage line play is just, it's darn good.
If I'm not a team named Pleasant Grove or a team named Carthage and I'm in that region, watch out for Van. I think Van can beat a Gilmer. I think Van can make, and again, I don't know the brackets, so I think Carthage and Pleasant Grove will meet in the 3rd round instead of the region final. But other than that,
round, yes.
Other than that, I don't pay attention to all the seedings until it's all out. Then I can look at
next
it.
Week. Yeah.
Yeah, until I can look at it. And so, depending on their path, if Van, I could easily see Van playing Carthage or Pleasant Grove in the region final. I legitimately can see that.
It might be Van and Gilmer playing
in that 3rd round on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think
the chance to play the winner of Pleasant Grove Carthage.
So it'd be kind of like what we saw Thanksgiving 2 years ago.
I will say this, as good as Carthage was, and one of the best 4A teams I've seen this year, right? Mm-hmm. And you can agree too.
Yeah.
You've seen all the big heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Carthage, Pleasant Grove, and Carthage Silsby seems like 2 games that would push Carthage a little bit more than they've been pushed in a while.
I agree. I'm not as sold 100% on the Pleasant Grove side. I think it's a good game.
I am.
But Silsby,
I've seen
really
Pleasant Grove in person. When you see them in person, you didn't get a chance to go see them.
Oh, no, I know. You're right. You're right.
I mean, dude, these guys are laying in wait. I'm not saying they beat Carthage, but this is not going to be the blowout that it has been.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. 100%.
A few years ago, when we went down, made the trek down to Longview to see them, and just Carthage just wiped the field with them. Was it Carthage or
no? That was Gilmer, Pleasant Grove. Yeah, that was Gilmer. That's when
mind.
Gilmer finally got their revenge game on Pleasant Grove.
Yes.
That was a good.
But this Carthage team, man, I don't know.
They're really just different. All right, let's go to Waco Connley beating Madisonville 22-16. Game was tied 16-16 with a minute left. Jamarian Vincent hit Jalen Knowles on a 46-yard pass to get the ball down to the 1-yard line with 1 second. You're talking about if somebody was just a tick late spotting the ball and killing the clock, any of that, game is over.
Sure.
It worked. And then they go, Coble Black runs it in to the end zone as time expires. Waco
from the Wildcat.
Yeah, from the Wildcat. So Connley, they
put the ball in your best athlete's hand.
Always.
Let him go. And the thing is, Connley's got like 4 of those.
Yeah, and so Connley started the year 3-0. They had a big win against La Vega. They dominated Yo, which at the time felt bigger. Now, not so much. And then they hit the really tough spot of their schedule, losing to China Spring by 20, losing to Brownwood by 3, losing to Springtown by 3. Again, that's another one that at the time.
Springtown, that's a little of a head scratcher.
But
right now.
Springtown's turned out to be pretty good.
They have, but I don't think they're on the level just yet as Brownwood.
No, I agree. But then they beat Gatesville, but it's 35-29. And then they beat Madisonville, but it's 22-16. So we always say Connley's one of those enigma teams, and I don't think anything has changed about that with them or with Madisonville. I could see both of these teams making good runs in the playoffs. I could see them both being out by the second round.
Yeah.
All right, where do you want to go next?
Brownwood 28, Andrews 14. Brownwood's quarterback Ike Hall ran for 181 yards. Levi Pearson ran for 106 yards. Brownwood totaled almost 300 yards of rushing in this ball game.
Yeah, but again, the issue with Brownwood is when they have that, they're going to have to find somebody else that's other than Ike Hall. Levi Pearson was a good game, but I think they should be able to score more than 28 against Andrews.
I do too, but
Andrews
maybe
is a
they're
salty
starting
team.
to get healthy. They were a little banged up. They've been a little banged up, right? Especially at the running back position. Yes. Brownwood can only do what they're got to do. I think they're going to be fine, right?
Yeah,
so, I think they will be fine.
I think they're fine in that first few rounds of the region.
Do I think they're going to Arlington? I don't know, but if anybody can take them, Ike Hall can do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean that dude and the defense. The Brownwood defense was a lot better than I thought they were going to be. When we saw them against Stephenville, I know Stephenville started running the ball down their throats, but my gosh, that Brownwood defense has been on the field a long time.
Exactly.
Right? All right. Hershey 42, Sweetwater 7. Hershey wins their fourth straight district title with this win. The Hershey defense held Sweetwater just 173 yards of total offense. Hershey scored 21 second quarter points to pull away in this game.
Yeah. Now, give them credit because everybody thought Graham was going to win this district. I still think Graham, if they played again, would be the favorite. But give the Huskies credit, man. A couple of years ago, they had a really good running back and they did well. I think it was 2018. And then last year and 2 years ago, they had a Marion Peterson, the USC guy, Jamarian Carroll, the SMU guy. And it felt like, okay, now they're only going to have 5 on offense, a few on defense. They're going to take a step back. And they did as far as who they lost to, but I mean, it was to Brock, it was to Springtown, and it was Decatur. I mean, you can't have 3 better losses in 4A football than those 3 teams. And I know Brock's 3A, but A, they're going to be 4A Division II next year, and B, they play like a 4A team. So I give the Huskies credit. They have done everything they can. They upset Graham. They beat Sweetwater. They do have Midland Greenwood this week, and Midland Greenwood has enough offense to scare anybody, but they can't stop anybody.
Right.
Hey, here, real quick, not spotlighting the game for next week, but our next segment, but this is fun. Sweetwater and Snyder, winner goes to the playoffs, loser stays home.
Ooh.
You always got to love those, especially when it's a rivalry game.
Sweetwater, very young, especially at the quarterback position, right?
Yes.
Freshman, I believe.
Speaking of crazy, Dumas with the field goal as time expires as they upset Canyon.
Who would have thought that?
Well, and you and I, man, it's our fault because we literally just last week was saying, hey, look, this Canyon team is built to maybe win this region, and they still could be. I'm not saying that that's out of the way, but man, what a crazy, crazy time for Dumas, who feels like they're starting to, remember, they're a young team. It feels like they're starting to kind of warm up, though, and maybe they're finding things. Anything they do in the playoffs this year is gravy. But I'm curious to see what they're going to be doing next year now after that win.
Yeah. Dumas is a lot like Sweetwater. Sweetwater gets in the playoffs, anything, in one win.
One extra practice is a big thing.
Yeah.
So a whole week of extra practice.
As young as they are.
Yeah. And if you pull off a win in the first round, you get 10 extra practices. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Iowa Colony is able to outlast Bay City. We talked about this game as on the night, Iowa Colony's Carson White threw for 208 yards and 3 touchdowns. They were held to 105 yards rushing, but again, it was the offense. Adrian Martin, 4 catches, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Bay City, Alec Estrada, 265 yards, 3 touchdowns. But the big thing, 3 interceptions. And that really kicked them. Because I think if I remember correctly, Iowa Colony scored 14 points off those. That you lose by 1, that's the difference in your game.
Oh, yeah. By far.
And Alex,
I'd hate to play either of these two in the first round.
Yeah, we've talked about it. This whole district has been fun this year, and it's also been really up and down. Like, you just don't know who's going to win on any given week.
Sign of a good district.
Yeah, it really is, and it has been for the last 2 years.
They
hey, man.
each other up.
Yep. What do you think about the Paris Anna game?
Ooh, man. I'll tell you this. Look, we know how good Anna is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we do. I've seen them on film twice. They only lost to Salina in just a great game in overtime or 2 overtimes. Anna stops defensively. Anna stops Paris on a 2-point conversion to win. That tells me that Paris is starting to round into form because Anna just didn't get average overnight.
You and I have talked. Yeah, and you and I have talked about this. Everybody that we talk to, everybody that has played Paris and beaten Paris, and some of them have beaten them by 2 or 3 touchdowns, say, look, don't look at that score. Paris is loaded. They're figuring out their new offense. Their defense is getting better.
The defense is what has really come around.
But they gave up 30 to Sulphur Springs and then hold Anna to 21.
It's just a sign of the Wildcats getting better, dude.
Yeah. And again, you definitely don't want to play Anna in the playoffs. I don't know if I want to play Paris in the playoffs. That 4A Division I Region 2 with Salina and Anna and now Paris and it's Sulphur Springs. I mean, Sulphur Springs
is no easy out.
Yeah, and Anna's got to play them this week for the state champion or for the district championship.
You're getting a little ahead of your over your skis.
Whoever wins this game wins state. So I mean,
we're calling it.
Yeah, we don't know how that's going to end, but I mean, a region that's kind of top heavy, all of a sudden there's finding a little bit of depth and it might be a fun little playoff run. Lumberton looks like they're heating up completely as they beat LCM 24-7.
Yeah, it started out 0-3.
Yeah,
I think it was, and then they're starting to wipe. Just they're getting on a run, man.
Well,
Lucas Powell. See what he did this week? 14-23 for 218 yards passing, ran for 77.
If I'm a team, though, I'm more concerned with the fact that all of a sudden it looks like their defense ain't too bad. Holding LCM to 7. They held Tatum, and I know 3-8 Tatum, but last year Tatum and them scored on each other like 50 points. They held Tatum earlier this year to 14 points. I had asked the guy on Smokey, who's a Lumberton fan, what happened, and what happened in the first part of the year, and he sent me a link to Coach talking 2 weeks ago now, and he said it. Young offensive line, young secondary, just took longer to develop. That happens sometimes. That's why you can't always count out a team just because they start 0-3 in non-district.
Yeah, well, yeah. So you talk about that Lumberton defense, but how about a Jaden Ward type running back that complements Lucas Powell at quarterback? Jaden Ward ran for 169 yards on 24 carries.
Yeah, that
takes a lot of pressure off of Lucas Powell.
And puts all the pressure on your opposing defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
All right. That is Stephenville beat Alvarado 34-7. That was just okay. Alvarado.
And that was after an hour delay, right? I believe there was an hour delay. I think Stephenville could probably have stretched this, but that delay and this stupid. Why do you make this thing have to be up there?
Because that's our company, and that's
that's right. Never mind. Why don't we have bigger banners?
If you're an Alvarado fan, and I know partly it's because you're just playing better competition, but if you're an Alvarado fan, and they had injuries on offense because they all of a sudden just can't score consistently. They scored 28 against La Vega. I know Stephenville's defense is good. I'm not trying to say it, but I still want to know because they scored 35 on Decatur.
Stephenville's defense, I will say this, situationally is one of the best defenses we've seen this year.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
If you take the totality of the game, you're going to move the ball, but when they need a stop, they get a stop.
Yeah, I totally agree with you in that. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to do for a preview. Last time we're previewing games for the 2023 season, and Coach X, as always, right here on Sideline to Sideline, the 4A edition, brought to you by SI Design and Printing. Radio. We talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out. Terry and Grant Goodwin back here, sideline to sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing. Also brought to you by Small Town Society. You can find them online at shopsmalltownsociety.com. If you're in Franklin, Texas, you can find them at the Messy Nest. This shirt right here is from them. It's Franklin's Hedrick Field. We got a couple great shirts from them. We do appreciate that. They have game day gear, hats and accessory, long sleeve, short sleeve. They have seasonal. They have holiday. They have state of Texas wear. They have it all. So check them out. Shop smalltownsociety.com. And Grant, have you been having a good Halloween so far?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. So what did y'all do at work? Like for your holiday? Do y'all do anything?
Yeah, we got a chili cook-up.
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real.
Coach X joins us now as Grant hates it when Coach X cuts in front.
I don't hate it, but I just totally dislike it.
You what?
Nothing.
Listen,
God.
X gon' give it to you.
Just line up
Wait for you to get it on your own.
Kick me right in the balls and get it over with, please.
I love this. Terrence, how did you make it this far? Oh, this is from Coach X, by the way, a real coach. Terrence, how'd you make it this far?
Is it, though, a real coach?
I told you his punt and gun offense. How do you make it this far in life?
Oh, that's my favorite.
JR. You don't know JR. JR was a big part of WWF. So
who shot him?
Not Jim Ross, not JR Ewing.
Banter.
J.R. Ewing's like the first guy on
Pretty
TV that
trees,
was, he was like, that's Bob
here.
Ross. But J.R. Ewing was like the first bad guy you actually rooted for on TV, if I remember right.
I root for all the bad guys.
Anyway, if you didn't last week,
on cops, like, go faster, run, get away. Faster. We've all been in this situation before.
Taking bets. But anyway, if you didn't listen last week, I brain farted on Jim Ross, the legendary wrestling announcer, and as Coach X, he's like a puppy with a bone. Once he latches on.
What did you say?
I just couldn't remember. He said,
were you talking about paintings too? No, I'm asking seriously.
Hey, Grant, yes, you do sigh when Coach X music comes on. And now we can all see that you eye roll as well. Thank you, Taylor. Taylor Lee is our executive producer and director. Let that be a lesson to all you kids out there. If you're going to deny something, don't document it with video. So next time you're committing a misdemeanor or something along those lines, don't film it and keep it off the line or the gram if you prefer. The more you know, Star Wipe, NBC theme. Again, Taylor, if you feel like doing
I like
that,
to TikTok my felonies.
So China knows. Now back to Grantholomew. I tell you what, you keep up with those type of shenanigans in this show or it'll become cruel and tragic and not cheeky and fun like it's supposed to be. Shawn Michaels' voice, now hit my music.
I
don't know why I'm supposed to hit his music.
I don't know, but please don't.
All right, let's get into it. The last week of football season.
Does that not suck the life force out of you? That song. It's not Coach X. It's the song.
It's because
I know he's gonna just line up and put my nuts on a tee and just kick a 48-yarder.
Do the old Johnny Carson swing through.
My light little nuts are gonna go flying left and right.
Wait,
I mean my heavy nuts.
Why? It's one of those nights. Why do you think they're flying?
Because that's stupid. Never mind. Go. Just go.
Let's get into week 10, 4A, the last one. We're going to start in a district that I feel like we've done probably one game a week. That's La Vega versus Stephenville. La Vega's offense is outstanding. Bryson Rowland, Jabari Thornton. I can't think of the quarterback's name. Their defense is getting a little better. Stephenville, it's like the exact opposite. Their defense is playing hard. Their offense, as they get healthier, is getting a little better. And I think
Ryan Gafford's back from that injury from the Brownwood game. And I'm sorry, when you have Ryan Gafford at quarterback and Tate Maruska Ryan Gafford at quarterback, Tate Mariska at running back.
Yeah.
And then Tristan Gentry at receiver, playing ahead of a really good defense like Stephenville has. I'm telling you, it's a recipe just like you saw the Stephenville win against China Spring. You could see a lot more in that playoffs, and all of a sudden Stephenville now, I'm not saying Arlington, but I'm saying better not sleep on them, because if I'm a betting man, I would put some money down on Stephenville getting there.
I'm going to say this, and I would not be mad if this happened, but we might see a rematch that's not two teams in the district, but two blood rivals, because Brownwood's sitting in Region 1, and I feel that they're going to have a good little path. And
I still think China Spring has something to say about all this.
Well, yeah, but that'll be the region final. I think.
You're saying before?
I'm saying in the regions, in the state semifinals. Brownwood's Region 1, Stephenville's Region 2, so they'd meet in the state semifinal. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
I could see that path. I could see a path. How would those two teams handle that? I don't know if you've ever made it. If y'all both ever played in the playoffs, I don't know if they've played in the playoffs, but that's always added fun.
Yeah,
or it's added odd, because it always felt odd when Texas and OU played at Cowboy Stadium a couple years ago in the Big 12 championship game. That felt odd. It didn't feel the same as it
wasn't
being in the
Red River rivalry.
And maybe that happens. But anyway, I like Stephenville in this game. I want to see, though, if this game becomes – I never thought I would say this. If this game becomes a shootout, it benefits La Vega. So let's see.
It does. Okay, it would, but I don't think this Stephenville defense is going to allow it to become a shootout.
Well, I know, but I mean, let's be fair. La Vega's scoring on everybody. It's not even the bad teams. They're putting points up on everybody. They put up 49 on China Spring. They put up 49 on Alvarado. They put up 42 on Lorena. So
right now, outside of Lorena, I don't see a defense that matches up with Stephenville's that those have played. Lorena's close, but
China Springs is close. China Springs still has a good defense.
They gave up 40 some odd points to Waxahachie Life.
Yeah, they beat them 68-52. Those happen. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. I get your point. I get your point, though. I get your point.
Spring has given up some points this year.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But I think La Vega's going to be able to score on Stephenville. I don't think they'll score enough, but I don't think Stephenville's holding them to 14 points or anything.
No, not 14 points, but I think that the Stephenville defense holds them under 30.
I
think that Stephenville, that's all Stephenville needs to do is hold somebody to 30.
That's crazy you say that. I legitimately, in my mind, have it at like a 45-35 game. So we're kind of in the same ballpark then. That Stephenville wins. But I think La Vega keeps it close for a long time.
I like Stephenville winning too.
All right, let's see what Coach X has to say. Dude, this district is crazy. About like Coach X at City Limits at a Corey Morrow's concert. Like, for real, I've been kicked out. Morrow. Okay, sorry. Like, for real, I've been kicked out of City Limits once, lots of times. Party at Coach X's house and then listening to Pat Green and getting kicked out for throwing up on a girl's shoes. Then I woke up under a car and the party started again. Memories. Give me the Yellow Jackets.
I got almost arrested outside of City Limits one night. Sorry, I was burping there.
That's okay.
Yeah, a long story.
I will always
remember back in my college days when I was at Weatherford College.
Yeah, I will always remember you having your car towed at Frisco at a concert and all the drama you had to do with all that. You remember that?
Yeah, I was parked legally. Too.
Yeah, that was like they ended up. I think that I don't know if you're part of it, but I think some people filed a lawsuit for that night and actually won.
Oh, I wonder if I can go back
10 years later. Hey, I was there.
That was like 20 years ago.
We were doing the show, so I wasn't quite 20.
Okay.
Jasper versus Silsby. You know, you and I have talked about Silsby all year and how great they are and how well they've played in this very tough district, but they still got Jasper. And if Silsby's looking past them in any stretch, Jasper's a team that could come up and bite them.
They could, but I'm telling you, Silsby is good enough, man, with Traylon Miller, Ashton Cartwright, Michael Mosier, quarterback. Trey Kibbles is one of the unsung heroes of this Silsby offense. Trey Kibbles can just run the ball down your throat, and Silsby's defense is very, very good. Look, I know Jasper's going to come at the Silsby defense with Isaiah Coleman at quarterback, Zykeelan Hadnot at running back, and Britton Simmons. Ty Anthony Smith at linebacker is going to be very active, but I think Silsby is so physical on both sides of the ball, and they're so athletic on the edges.
Yeah.
I just have, unless Silsby just does not show up, I don't see Silsby losing to anybody right now.
I
Silsby
agree, but I think Jasper can beat them. I mean,
well,
I think this is a one-possession game.
When you get two really good teams against each other, anybody can win.
Yeah.
But if Silsby plays Silsby's game and they show up, and there's no reason why they wouldn't show up mentally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the last hiccup they had was against Cuero last year. This is a new team this year. And if Silsby plays to their potential, I don't know that anybody beats them. I'm telling you, Silsby is this good.
And I don't think enough people are talking about their defense. I mean, this is a defense that held West Orange Stark to 6. And I'm not saying West Orange Stark is great, but in comparison,
look
Jasper
at what they
gave
did
up
to
38
Hampshire
points.
Finette.
Yeah, holding them to 21 points.
Yeah, well, and not all those 21
like 14
points
wasn't counted.
Yeah,
7
there was
were
a block
trash.
punt.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Kick for a return for 6. So, yeah, I mean, this Silsby is good all the way around. Do not sleep on Silsby, because I would be shocked if they weren't playing for a semifinal or a trip to Arlington.
So Coach X didn't say anything on this one. Okay.
I think I might have left that one out.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, let's go to a district championship showdown in 7-4A Division I. By the way, you can hear Matt Diggs and I talk about this game as well tomorrow. We record our 7-4A Division I show, brought to you by Granny's Bakery. Salina versus Frisco Panther Creek. You know, I was I still am heavily Salina, but that Dallas Carter game and them getting 399 yards on the ground.
That gives you a little pause, right?
Gives me a little pause, but at the end of the day, so for me, I've seen Frisco Panther Creek against Carter. I watched them against Wilmer Hutchins, and I saw a little bit of that Pinkston game, and they only won by Pinkston by 1 point. But they feel like a new program, which they are. They have a lot of good players.
Well, it all starts with Braxton Roberts.
Yeah, the quarterback.
At quarterback. Yeah. I mean, that guy's thrown for over 2,600 yards. Got a really good receiver in Kristen Trickett, who has 1,140 some odd yards receiving. So this offense is going to push that Salina defense, which has been pushed by some lesser teams, right?
But the issue I have with Panther Creek is they don't look like a team yet. I don't mean like they're fighting or nothing, but they look like a year 2 program that has a lot of talent, but maybe
they only got one loss.
I know. Again, solid team, but I mean they beat Pinkston 21-20, and Pinkston's a really solid football team. You go look at who they lost to. Still though, you only beat them 21-20, and at times against that Carter game, Carter had their chance. Carter threw a touchdown into the end zone at the end of the half that basically killed their kind of killed the momentum, and Panther Creek came out in the second half. And again, I'm not saying Panther Creek isn't good, but they just feel like one of those teams that's 8-2.
And they're a year or two early.
Yeah, they're 9-1, and they get in the second round, and somebody that's maybe not as talented but has more playoff skins is able to grind out that win.
That's what it comes down to, is playoff skins and just flat out like experience. And Salina has that. And Salina's running back Harrison Williams, he's a beast.
Yeah.
I think he'll put a lot of pressure on this Panther Creek defense. Knox Porter at quarterback, Jacob Henry at receiver. I think Panther Creek's going to be okay offensively. They'll be able to move the ball at times. So the Salina defense can step up and make stops when it happens. But I just don't know that the Panther Creek defense is going to be able to hold up to this Salina offense. Now, again, though, Braxton Roberts, a quarterback, is the X factor here. And when you got a quarterback like that, for Panther Creek, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, here's what Coach
So
X.
I like Salina by 10-14.
Yeah, about there, 10-4. I could see it going 21-28, but 10-14 feels about right. All right, here's what Coach X has to say. Is this a real place? He's talking about Panther Creek. Would anybody go there? Although I've heard there's a Bear Creek in Houston somewhere. I think that's right next to Twink Creek. Oh, I get it now. Anyway, Panther Creek. Have you guys ever seen a panther? Those are relentless, perfect killing machines. I've taken a vacation to Wolf Creek before, and that turned out okay. So I guess Panther Creek could be nice. My wife got us an Airbnb to Crystal Lake, owned by Mr. Maurice. So I'm looking forward to that. Friday the 13th reference on Halloween. So I'm going forward to that. Looking forward to that Salina win. So we all three have Salina winning. All right, let's go up into East Texas. Kilgore versus Chapel Hill. This is a game that I don't know why.
This is a scary good game.
Yeah,
though.
and nobody's talking about it.
Well, because Chapel Hill has kind of a couple times this year split the bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still 8-1. They're still 8th in the state. Kilgore's 5th in the state. Kilgore's lost the game. They lost it in the weirdest, crappy way ever.
Look who they lost to, right?
Yeah, I mean, Gilmer or Carthage. I mean, I'm sorry, they beat Gilmer with Gilmer had the crappy loss. They lost to Carthage, which was a good game, back and forth all game in that first game, 30-27. Yeah, I definitely think that not only us, but everybody in the state has kind of just overlooked Kilgore for some reason this year.
Yeah, and people are starting to write off Chapel Hill for whatever reason. It seems like, I don't know, I might be wrong, but Chapel Hill.
Well, Chapel Hill, they lose to Lindale, and they kind of lose to Lindale, how they lost to Bernie, and kind of how they lost to Gilmer. When Chapel Hill starts turning the ball over, they start pressing, and once they start pressing,
right,
it's not that they don't score, but they get in their own way at times. And also, I think you have to be concerned about that defense. Having a quarterback in 2023 run for 300 yards like Clint Thurman did against Chapel Hill, where they're literally just running behind their best offensive lineman. And Casey Poe's a hell of a lineman. He's going to play at D1 wherever he wants. I think he might be a Baylor commit. I could be wrong on that. But when you're just doing that and you can't stop that, I'm a little concerned about your playoff run.
Yeah, I still think no matter what happens in this game, Chapel Hill is going to be there close to the end.
I agree 100% with that.
I still think, look, I think Kilgore is going to frustrate the hell out of this Chapel Hill.
This is a great playoff test offense before the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Kilgore just matches up with Chapel Hill, and I think Kilgore will win this game in a close one. But in the end, I think it's okay for Chapel Hill because I think they're playing for a region final after this. But I think Kilgore wins this ball game in a close one.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to go up in that first round against the Lumberton district, and Chapel Hill's better than any of those teams left in that one. Even if they're coming out of the third place spot. And if they lose this week, Chapel Hill would be coming out of the third place spot. But that they're fine with that. I'm still going to go Chapel Hill, but I everything you said I agree is right. I think it's going to be a 42-40 type game. And I think Kilgore is going to run all over Chapel Hill, but I think Chapel Hill will stay as mistake-free as they can, and they will end up getting the big win. Let's see what Coach X has to say. Real freaking awesome here. Bulldogs versus Bulldogs. Yawn. Wait. Does one of these teams spell their name Dogs, D-A-W-G-S? Because that makes it a little better. Wrong again, Terry. Hey, Sideline to Sideline fans, Terry is won this. Shirts that say AIDS mascot. I don't know if I'm saying is won this. Shirts that say AIDS mascot. Hey, freaking learn to type. Say that on the front.
Wait, did you just say the F word?
No, I didn't. I said learn to type.
Oh, okay. I thought you said F and learn to type.
No, I didn't. But you know what? F and learn to type.
Every time you do that, I'm doing the.
You just remembered that for 3
should I grab the bell instead?
No. For 3 shows, he's been wanting to ring that tonight. The clapper we got from Carthage, and he's forgotten every show until right now when we're like 6 minutes out. All right.
Yay.
Anyway,
Carthage.
Say that on the front and the back.
Carthage.
They say, I'm reading Coach X. Anyway. For real, imagine telling your kids, hey, guys, we got AIDS this week, but, Coach, I gave blood this weekend. Well, you're a murderer, Billy. Now go out there and run some routes while you still can. Hey, are we still talking about football? I don't know. Get old Magic Johnson.
Where did he get AIDS from Kilgore and Chapel Hill?
He did the whole AIDS thing as a mascot. We all laughed at that last week. And so, again, he's like a puppy with a bone. If he gets any kind of love, he just gonna lean in it. It's AIDS mascot for the next 2 years now.
Oh, he's trying to bury his mom too.
Anyway, he said, "Give me Chapel." You can tell it's the last show of the night. All right, let's finish it up in another district that it feels like we've been talking a ton about because I don't know where these teams will end up on the state run. I think one of them has a really deep run. But at the end of the day, it's just been a hell of a fun 12-4A Division I, and that's Needville versus Iowa Colony.
Oh, yeah. Very fun game. Needville's running back Deshaun Burton's averaging 191 yards a game rushing.
Yes. And we talked about, we got to see what's his name a few years ago with Needville. That was fun. He went to, was it Dartmouth or Brown, and they ended up at USC.
Yeah.
Deshaun Burton ain't quite as big as he was, but man, what he's doing on the ground.
Very quick.
Yes. But in saying that, man, Iowa Park, dude. Alex Straw, that's Bay City. Iowa Park. We talked about last year. They were 2-7, but they returned everybody, brand new school. So this feels a little different than Panther Creek. Iowa Colony feels like they have an identity. They're going to be fast. They're going to be physical. They're going to, Jacoby Miles at running back. They have a solid offensive line. They feel like they have an identity that I don't think Panther Creek does yet. Maybe that's what I was trying to say. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
Panther Creek.
When we're talking Panther Creek, they're both the second year school. They're both second year schools.
Oh,
but
we're going like totally one end of the state to the other.
Yeah, no, because
you're confusing me.
Okay.
Don't switch. Like, don't give me the dead leg.
I need to do like play calling.
You gave me the dead leg. I'm going over here.
But
and you're
I specifically said this is
where you're at, Jonathan Brooks.
This is why third show of the night, he's not listening.
I'm like, they're playing Needville.
I specifically said, unlike Panther Creek, that's your connection. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
I think Iowa Colony's physicality wins out over. Like, I think Needville can match up offensively as far as athleticism. We talk about Deshaun Burton, but Needville's got Killen Sweeney at quarterback, who's thrown for 940 yards.
He's thrown enough to keep defenses,
and he's ran for 1,050. So he's a dual threat. But I think the Iowa Colony fronts are better. They're more physical up front on both sides of the ball. And I think Iowa Colony will actually win this one going away.
I think so, too. Needville's defense is the same issue they had when they made that last run and got beat by Lindell. They can't stop good offenses. They haven't all year. They've given up 28, 20, 14, 35 in the district. They've given up 35, 13, 42, 28. And calibration game or not, Bay City, they lose to Bay City 50-17, and Iowa Colony beat Bay City, 28-27.
Yeah.
That just kind of tells you, if you're going to calibrate. All right, let's see what Coach X has to say. Are people from Iowa still migrating to Texas? My uncle lives in Iowa and sent me a screenshot of the Weather Channel app, and it says -45 back in February. So I would move to Texas too. I will never pick some Yankees from a state that looks like a man's face to beat any Texas team. So give me the want villains in this one.
And I believe Iowa people make chili with beans.
Yes, they do. And have you ever had as we close out, have you ever had
Cincinnati chili?
Yes. You know I was going to go there.
No, and I will never do that.
Have you ever had it on noodles?
No, that is
Cincinnati. It's good. It's actually good. I'm just saying.
Take your Yankee stuff and get out of here.
Yeah, my family, one side of my family is from Ohio. I've got the problem.
Have they ever had Geta? You ever heard Geta?
No, I haven't.
It's a Cincinnati, Ohio sausage.
Oh, no.
It's called Geta.
Is it good?
I don't know. I'm not a Yankee.
Half my family's from Ohio, half my family's from Louisiana. So I was behind the 8 ball before life ever began.
Man, anyway, one light. Yep. Your eyes are more cross than mine, man.
Dude. Anyway, that's going to do it. This is our last regular season show of the year. That means next week we start playoffs. And boy, as you can tell, we're punch drunk, ready to or some of us are other drunks. But anyway, we're ready to talk a little playoff football. You can find us on Facebook, Sideline to Sideline. You can email us, Grant and Terry at S2S Sport. Find us on Twitter at Grant and Terry. We want to thank our sponsor, SI Design and Printing, Small Town Society, Power Plus Mouth Guard, and NETSN. Check out their app. Their app is as good as what Dave Campbell's has. It's just on the region level. You done? Anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Until next time.
See you by district. And I'll see you in Franklin.
Yeah, we'll see everybody in Franklin if you're in Franklin.
We're riding together.
Yeah. Thankfully, you don't have to walk this time. Anyway, until next time, he's Grant. I'm Terry. This is Sideline to Sideline, the 4A edition on L4 Media.
Hard to make a living while the gas so high. Oh.